All right, so today I'm going to be explaining to you guys why I don't cook inside my camper van and why you might consider not doing the same as well. Now, for some of yous, I know you're going to say it's like an essential thing. You absolutely have to cook in your camper van. Like there's no other way you can live without it, and that's completely fine. Maybe this video isn't for you, but I'm mainly addressing those of you who want to simplify your life, make it easier for yourselves, and actually, avoid making messes and having to clean things and potentially smelling up your camper van, drawing attention to yourself, and creating more humidity, more heat, especially in the summer. So basically, this is how I go about doing things without cooking in my van, and how I actually take very good care of my health and make sure that I eat good every single day without having to make a complete mess. So the first thing is, I guess we can tackle breakfast. So for breakfast, in my case, I mean in general, okay, I buy most of my food from the grocery store. So in the morning, one of the first things I do is I go to Walmart, I buy like a piece of fresh fruit, whether it's a pineapple, a watermelon, whatever is in season, and I do prep it in my van. I cut it and whatever on a cutting board with a knife, and that's as much as of like the utensils that I dirty in the day. So I don't do anything more than that. That's pretty much it. And I can rinse that with water. You don't even need soap. If you don't leave it lying around, it's easy. You just water, you wipe it down, and it's clean. So that's as much cleaning as I do in one day. Now for everything else, I mean, I do a lot of intermittent fasting, so maybe you don't do that, so you might want to consider lunch. I mean, there's plenty of places, like especially in grocery stores, that actually have pre-made meals that you can buy. You can go to restaurants. If you're more into healthy food, there are healthier restaurants. You can buy salads, like whatever you like. And you might be like, oh, well, it's going to be more expensive if I go eat in restaurants and stuff. It's like, yeah, but if you're on your purpose and you're doing important things, and you got to calculate what the time is costing you and what kind of infrastructure you're going to even need to be washing that stuff. So you're going to probably need like some sort of a actual sink with I do have a sink in my camper van, but I mean one with an electric pump instead of a foot pump. You're gonna need soap. You're probably gonna need like a gray water tank. You're gonna have to like empty it out every once in a while. So it's just gonna be so much hassle. And plus you're gonna need a place to dry your dishes. Like there's just all these things you're gonna have to think about just to be able to cook in your van. And like think about the amount of things you're going to be dirtying. Maybe there's going to be a pan, maybe there's going to be like all sorts of things that you're going to be dirtying besides utensils. So just think about that. And of course, I'm not completely against cooking while you're on the road. Like for example, you could get yourself a little butane stove and you can actually go cook outside your camper van. Already that's a much better idea, because you're not going to add more heat inside of it, and you're not going to obviously get smells impregnating all of your materials, like your mattress and your couch cushions and all of that stuff. So that's already a better alternative. And even a lot of the state parks and parks that you can go to, they have these kind of grills. You can bring your own charcoal and stuff, and you can actually cook out there if you want. So already that's a much better alternative to cooking in the van. And it would take a lot less electricity, if not any whatsoever, because charcoals and butane is not electric. Lighting up the charcoals is another story. But already that's a better idea maybe for dinner or for lunch, okay? Maybe not for breakfast, because obviously you're just waking up and stuff. Now moving on more to dinner, like I said, for me, I'm still going to the grocery store. Sometimes I will go get something maybe at a restaurant if I want to, if I'm like a little bit more in the mood for something like junk food. But for the most part, I just go get like bread and hummus or like a rotisserie chicken, and I just eat that. And that's pretty much all there is to it. So I know you guys might have different preferences and like dietary maybe restrictions, or not necessarily preferences, but things that you actually think are better for you. And whatever it is, I'm sure you can find a way to adapt without actually having to cook in your camper van. Like I said, the best alternative, if you're really into like food that's cooked, just go to a restaurant. You'll save time, and that's much more valuable than money in our philosophy. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the video and that it gave you another perspective to consider when it comes to cooking in your camper van, because like I said, it's just gonna add so much to your plate, literally, and it won't really bring you much benefits in the long run, especially if you're planning to do this for the long haul. Trust me, you'll get sick of it. So if that resonates with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, guys, that's it for this one. If you're building something that's meant to last, whether it's a camper van, a business, or just a better way of living, I'm glad you're here. Everything I use, recommend, or offer is linked in the description. Take what works, build your own blueprint, and I'll see you in the next one.